I think most people realize I have a little bit of mixed feelings when it comes to Phil Spencer. I just don't think that he was really qualified for the job, and he has this kind of cult of personality about him, where people just kind of get enamored with him. He's out there, he's kind of like your buddy, he's wearing the gaming shirts and the jacket over it, and people just think that he's cool or hip or whatever, and he's an actual gamer, and he's been with Microsoft for a long time, and a lot of times he tells you what you want to hear. And then, like I said, I was kind of a sucker for that. I for years was very much a sucker for that, like, oh, Phil Spencer says this, Phil Spencer said this, and you believe the guy, right? Like, he was in it to win it, and then he wasn't, and then Sony wasn't their competition, and then they were. It's like gamers don't care about, or console gamers don't care about 60 frames a second. This was literally in 2017 he said this, and then because he's trying to sell us a One X, which wasn't going to do 60 frames on a lot of stuff, and now all of a sudden, because he's trying to sell us a console that will do 60 frames is the most important thing, and he's talking about frame rate all the time and stuff like this. So he kind of has this paper trail of saying one thing and then saying the other thing a little bit later, and we all are guilty of that, to be sure. But when it comes to the head of a company, like a $1 trillion company, and he's like the head of Xbox, so I think maybe that you just kind of expect a little bit more from that. But he did come out and say something that I kind of agree with him about, and I think this is pretty cool for them to come out and say, and it would be a big win. Obviously, if it's a win for Microsoft, it's a win for Sony as well. And I want to get started with it. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews. Back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel. And if you really want to help me out, consider becoming a member, or at the very least hit the bell so you're notified of everything as soon as it drops. So, of course, Phil Spencer takes to Twitter, starts talking. That's what he does, right? He was talking about the upcoming next generation Xbox Series X and talking about ray tracing and dynamic latency input and all that kind of good stuff. And somebody asked him, and I quote, "Hi, Phil, with the imminent arrival of Xbox Series X, what technologies do you think allow this spectacular device? We've been hearing about ray tracing for a few months, and recently photogrammetry. Will this be new, of course?" And he says, "Ray tracing on console will be great. I'm very focused on the work we are doing around dynamic latency input, DLI, as it is. In my view, the field of games this upcoming generation will change as dramatically as any since 2D to 3D, given CPU upgrade, DLI, memory bandwidth, and solid state drive." So obviously that's pretty cool. He's saying it's going to be like the biggest jump, and I would say that that's great, because I think initially when we went from last gen to this gen, there was very few games that really had that kind of leap. And I think that it's nice that they're talking about how there's going to be this leap and noticeable and stuff like that, because obviously the solid state drives are going to be huge. Will we get that noticeable stuff right away? It's really hard to tell, because like I said, they're supporting last gen as well with cross gen stuff, and third parties are too. But until we start getting those games specifically tailored for the new hardware, it's going to be difficult to really tell what they can do. And obviously it's been a while since we've heard anything substantial, but there was one developer that was highlighting an interview about how the two next-gen consoles have very similar hardware and features a leap compared to current generation, and they say it'll be massive, which is really cool, because who wants to buy a $500-$600 console if you're not going to get that huge leap? And I think that that's even something that's going to tick off some of the PC people, is because you're going to be able to get a $500 or $600 console that can do 4K, 60 or 120 frames, HDR, ray tracing, all that kind of good stuff, with a 4K Blu-ray drive and all this other stuff that realistically to do on PC would probably be much, much more expensive. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.